Good morning, everyone. Okay, so over Shabbos, we got up to the Samach Dalid Omer Aleph, 64a. So we're in the middle of discussing the halachos, the laws of eggs. How to the halachos of eggs, how to tell if eggs are kosher. We discussed that the signs of eggs are not written in the Torah. It's just something that Chum gave you, that if a guy tells you that these eggs are from a specific kosher bird, and all the signs, all these indicators, and they're kosher check out, then you can rely on him that they're from a kosher bird, from a specific kosher bird, for example, goose, because he's something which you can get caught on, and therefore he won't lie to you and tell you which bird it's something that's very easy to check. But basically, you can't rely on the indicators themselves, because there are non-kosher bird eggs that are similar to kosher bird eggs.
What's the location?
64A.
64A, on the closest to the bottom. There should be a dot, like 10 lines to the bottom, about for those with art scrolls. Amar, everyone has it. It's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's nine lines. The line starts the dummy Ladiana. Okay. Okay. Fine. So one of the things we were talking about was that if you find an egg, well, first of all, the symptom of the indicator of a kosher, that it's a kosher egg. One of the indicators are that it has the yolk on the inside and the egg white on the outside. Right? You open an egg, and the yolk is within the egg white. And we said if the white is within the yolk, then it's for sure non-kosher. If they're mixed together, then it's definitely the egg of a crawling creature, like an impure crawling creature. So the Gemara is going to ask now, Amar Mar, so we said that when the yolk and the white and the yolk are mixed together, Yadush B'Tseres is known, and ensure that it is the egg of a crawling creature. The Ma'achasa, what halach takeaway do we have from this? Amar Akbar Chama Leimar Shem Rikva V'Nikva Matami B'Chad Dasha. That if the egg started to hatch and it got a hole in it, and it stuck some, then it can make a person impure with the size of a lentil. So if the size of a lentil is available to touch and you touch it, then it will make you impure. So how do you know if this is just an egg? How do you know that it's from one of the 8 creatures which cause impurity? Right? We know that there's 8 creatures. It says in the Torah and in Vayikra and Leviticus, right? And there are 8 creatures which cause impurity. 8 crawling creatures. Maybe just give some examples: mice, lizards, moles, among others, scorpions. So, but how do you know that it's one of these? Maybe it's a snake egg, which does not cause impurity and cause impurity. No, so if it started forming, and you ate it, then you get malchus. You get whipped because of the mitzvah, the lav, where it says in the Torah you shouldn't do. You should not eat a creature that crawls on the ground. Yachi, my ear, that's me. I feel the Torah. So I'm going to ask 1 second. Who cares whether or not it's a creature who gives ritual impurity? It could even be a creature that does give ritual impurity. As long as it's non-kosher, it's going to fall under the prohibition of sheretz al aretz, which means it will fall under the prohibition of something which crawls on the earth, which you're not allowed to eat. The prohibition of sheretz al aretz, the prohibition of something which crawls upon the earth, falls. Many animals fall into this category. Many bugs fall into this category, not just the ones that cause impurity. There's only 8 that cause impurity, and there are probably millions that cause that you'll get whipped for eating them. They fall under the prohibition. Tanya, as it says in a brisa, call sheretz la'aretz, all creatures which crawl upon the ground. The rabbi said for name. This is coming to tell us even chickens. Can you believe this? Even chicken eggs. If you cannot eat. The fact that the pasuk says kol sheretz la'aretz, the extra word kol, is going to tell you even pure chickens which are actually a pure bird, they're literally kosher. But if you eat the chicks before their eyes open up, right? So then that's considered that falls in the same category. The Gemara says no, you're wrong. This prohibition, this thing, we don't let you eat chicks before their eyes are open up. Before their eyes open up, remember, before their eyes open up, they're really, really tiny. They're basically, they don't even have feathers. All right, so it's a rabbinic prohibition not to eat them like that. But kras machtam alma, and we're just showing you the pasuk as not as a sign of, not as a proof, just as a support. Not actually. When the Rabbanan made their own, it was the rabbis made their own prohibition, but the Torah doesn't say it explicitly. Tana Rabbanan, Uli Beitzim. Uli Beitzim mutaris. Uli Beitzim are permitted. Beitzim muzaris. Never shefat. Literally translates as spread out eggs. Are someone who's not finicky can eat them. If you find on the blood on a yolk on the egg a blood spot, you can throw out the blood and eat the rest. I remember Yomie said this, that you can throw out the blood and eat the rest. This is only when it's found in the part of an egg which, let me see if our pictures here. Part of an egg which has on top of the egg there is, just show a picture. Gosh, class pictures, right? See? Yes. Here we go. There are 2 keshers in an egg, as you can see. This one and this one. So on one of them, it's going to be fine if we take the blood off. Another one, it's not going to be fine. Let's see. I'm just going to leave this here for now. Tani Dustoi Abu Turkey. We have a learning from Dustoi, the father of Turkey. This that we said it's going to be fine to take off the blood is only when it's on the egg white. When it's found in the egg yolk, I feel the beit asura. Even the whole egg is forbidden, not just the egg yolk. My timer, because the blood already impacted the whole egg. It ruined the whole egg, meaning halachically. Rav Gvia said from Kasel said to Rabashi, I heard the opposite teaching in front of Abaya. But Abaya who the tarts in Hali Hachi, and Abaya changed it. And Abaya changed it from the Kollel to the Chabli, and changed it from yolk to the egg white. Okay, so he wasn't asking a question; he was just telling him that he had heard it learned the opposite way, and Abaya had set the person straight that it's talking about when you find it on the egg white. Okay, so to conclude, basically what we're saying is that if there's a spot of blood in an egg, then okay. So if you're talking, so let's just establish what we're talking about over here. First of all, it has to be eggs that a rooster has access to them. So our eggs that we usually use are totally fine to eat. In fact, the fact that we still check eggs is a custom. It's a very important custom because at the end of the day, what happens when you move somewhere where you have organic eggs, right? And then if you don't check them, you could be doing this is a biblical prohibition. It's not a rabbinic thing to eat this blood, right? So therefore, we these days we are careful to check eggs. But remember, we don't check eggs when we boil them. Even when it comes to eggs like this, we don't check them. You can boil them, and it's okay. You can assume that it's fine. We have there's status quo that there's no blood there. But that's why we still check eggs. Even when you find blood in them, it's not blood from not from the rooster, right?
Right.
It's going to be from the hen. For some reason, one of the vessels inside her put a little bit of blood in it. It's not a problem. It's really permitted. You take it out. That's you're not meant to eat blood. If you actually see the blood, then you're meant to take it out, even though it's not really prohibited. Yeah. But over here, we conclude the Gemara basically said that if you have eggs which roosters have been fertilizing, if you find any blood in them, if it's still stuck on the kesher, which means, again, I showed over here, it's at the bottom part of the egg. The round part. Over here is called kesher shachelboy. Egg white. Well, kesher means the knot. But it's part. If you open an egg, I don't know if I've ever actually opened an egg to test this. I don't really think about it when you open an egg. Which part of it has a little white? You see it. You see a little white thing. Right. So this part of it, if it's over here, if there's a blood spot here, okay, you can take it out and down. But if you went down into over here, into the yolk, then it's gonna be too bad, and you're gonna have to throw out the whole egg. So it's already fertilized, and the whole egg's already fertilized, and you already can't eat it. It's already starting to be. I think it's already starting to become a chick. It's already a sheretz. Fine. Okay. Amar Chizkiya said, how do we know that an impure egg is forbidden from the? How do we know biblically? Shenemar, as it says in the Torah, it's basayan. It says you're not allowed to eat basayan. I believe is the ostrich. Okay. Does the ostrich have a daughter? This is an impure egg, right? Does the ostrich have any daughters? What does that even mean? So no, this is an impure egg. You can't eat an impure egg. That's what the Torah is telling you. I was like, 1 second. Maybe that's the name of ostrich is Bas Yana. Who said that the name of ostrich is Yana and the Bas, which means daughter, right, is referring to the eggs? Maybe just the whole name of the ostrich in Hebrew is Bas Yana, like with a comma, a hyphenated name. Yeah. No, don't say that. Why? Which means my nation was cruel, like ostriches in the desert. And you see, it says Ye'enim. So you see the name of the Bas Hayana is really Ye'en, right? As you can see, I think this is an Eicha. Yeah. Appropriate time of year for this. So the Gemara says we see in Micha, that I'm going to make lamentation like Tanim, jackals, and mourning like B'nai Yana, which are, so isn't this the name of the species the Gemara is suggesting? Where it's like, no. Kiyana Zu, she was a now. Like this Yana, which mourns her sons. So the Gemara is not going to finish. This Gemara still has other verses to ask from, where it seems to be that the name of the ostrich is Bas Hayana, right? So the Gemara says, it says in Yeshaya that they're going to rest over there. Hashem's going to destroy Bavel, and over there you're going to rest, and where bubble was, they will rest there, b'nois yana. So is this not a name of a species? The Gemara's like, no. Now, like this yana, which rests with her sons. So again, the Gemara is trying to prove it that when it says in the Torah, Bas Hayana, it means the children of the Yana. And not that the species is called Bas Hayana. The Gemara has another question. It says in the verse, in Yeshaya, again, Isaiah, they will honor me, the animals of the field, Tanim, jackals of B'nai Yana. And B'nai Yana. So over there it sounds like that's the name of the species. Can eggs give, right? If we were saying in the Torah that Bas Yana means the eggs of the Yana, the eggs of ostriches, right? That means everywhere else in Tanakh, it has to line up and say that when it says B'nai Yana, it means the eggs of ostriches as well as ostriches, right? So, and eggs can't say Shira. Eggs can't honor God. They're just eggs. They're not in a position where they can do anything. The Gemara's like, you're right, fine. The Gemara gives up, so to say. You got okay. It says Yana, Basa Yana, Shani Yach, the pasuk sif for the state tevis. It's different because it says both. It refers to ostrich sometimes as Basa Yana and sometimes as Yana, but it depends how it was written. Right, it depends what our tradition was how to write it. Over here, and over here it's different. Over here we have a reason to expound on this word Basayana in Vayikra. We're trying to write. We tried to start and say that Basayana is referring to the eggs, the ostrich. Why over here do we suddenly decide to make a drasha to expound upon it? Because we see that the scribes split it into two words. The state tables. The pasuk was Savar Batar Tables, Ramino, Teshem. Remember the fact is that the scribe split into two words. We know that it's two separate names. One is referring to the eggs. One's referring to the ostrich itself. Elameata. The Gemara like 1 second. Okay, Elameata. The Gemara like 1 second. If you're saying that, perhaps you should say, as says in the Torah in Bereshis, as Kedar Loimer. The kings. It's talking about the 4 kings that Avraham Avinu. There were 4 kings fighting 5 kings, and if anyone remembers, and 4 kings were stronger than the 5 kings. So one of the 4 kings was Kedar Laimer, and it's the pasuk was Sefer B'Chay. Again, over there, the scribes also separated into 2 words. So if you're telling me that whenever the scribe separates into 2 words, it's 2 different names. Kedar Laimer is 1 name. We know that, and it says the Torah itself says it as 1 word sometimes. Your answer is no. Hachinami. No. Say that over there it splits into 2 words. But the scribes do never split out into 2 separate lines. Over here, even the scribes would even split into 2 lines because they are so different from each other. Because it's referring to 2 separate things. When it says Bas, it's referring to the eggs. When it says Yana, it's referring to the ostriches. And from here we know that a non-kosher egg, a impure egg, we have a biblical prohibition to eat a non-kosher egg, an egg of a non-kosher bird. Okay, back to the Mishnah. Let's see. The Mishnah said, it's a long way back. Okay. Abel Amr Chachamim. Kol Oifa Deris Tami. Right, the rabbi said, it says in the Mishnah, the Mishnah is on 59a, if anyone's interested in looking there. The rabbi said, any bird which is dores is impure, right? So we said we're probably going to try to translate exactly what dores is. Tanya, you have a brisa, dores v'ochel beidua sho tame. A bird which is dores v'ochel, it's known that it is impure bird. Just say it's base area. If it has an extra finger, bezefek, and a crop, a karkavani niklaf, and its gizzard peels, it is known that it is a pure bird. Okay, so now how do we test? What's a good way to test the bird? You take a string. Yeah? You stand the bird up on it. Now, if it goes like this, 3 in front, 1 in back, right? Like this. then you know that it's kosher. If it goes like this, sorry, it's hard to see, which would be like this, right? Two in front, two in back, then you know that it's not kosher. Okay. So as you can, any bird which catches food in the air is going to be an impure bird, right? Kosher birds don't do that. Okay, so 1 second. Sigmar asks, Pirta, Nami, Kodz Veichel, a bird called Spirit that also, Miklat Kolta, also grabs food from the air, right? Catches it in the air. We said it catches and eats it, right? It has to be a bird that catches food in the air and eats it at the same time. Doesn't just catch it. Birds just rest with impure birds, which they are impure. If they rest with kosher birds, then they are kosher. Come on, Rabbi Dovid Gleizer. This is the shita. This is the opinion of Rabbi Dovid Gleizer, the Tanya. It is not for nothing that a zarzir. We spoke about this recently. We already spoke about the zarzir. It's some sort of it's related to the raven. It's not for nothing that the zarzir went to the next to the raven. Reason why is because he's the same type, meaning he's impure. I feel time rabbanon. You can even say that this. Gemara's like, you don't need to say this is Rabbi Leizer's opinion that shachin, right? That's something, a bird which rests with impure birds is impure. You can even say it's the rabbis. Why? Shachin v'nidma kamrin. We're saying that it's rests with them and it looks like them, right? It's a bird that rests. So this is actually also an important lesson, just hashkafically, that you got to be careful where you set up camp, right? If you're with bad people, it can make you look like a bad person. At the very least, and definitely if you are with them and you look like them and you act like them, then okay, fine, very good. So just to be clear, Doris is it didn't really say clearly what Doris was. Doris means, again, it's machlokes Rashi Tosfos. They have a disagreement about exactly what Doris is. Either it means that they hold down their food. They pick up the side. Either it picks up its food and eats it while it's holding it, basically like you eat a fruit. So like it will pick up its food and eat it, hold it in its hand, the way we eat an apple. We'll peck at it while it's holding it. Or there's another opinion that it stabs. I think Tosfos says it stabs it. Yeah, stabs it and then eats it. So or eats live prey, like it's eats it while it's still alive. Okay, it's like killing it as it eats it. Okay, fine. Now we are moving on to locusts, grasshoppers. We said in the Mishnah, and it's locusts, anything which. So in the Mishnah, chagavim, anything which has 4 legs, 4 wings, lion, and its wings are covering most of its body. And there's one opinion that says its name has to be chagav. Let's see. That's the Gemara. My ruba. What does it mean that its wings have to cover most of its body? Most of the length of its body. Okay. I believe our school has pictures here as well, right? Maybe it's going to be the next page. Yeah, really? What do they do? Okay. Okay, that's something. That's really other symptoms, but you can get the idea. We'll see it. We'll see the next stuff. Okay. And some say that it means most of the side of its body. So Rav Archai is the height. Rav Archai is the height. Rav Akefai is the circumference. Okay. It has to cover most of the sides of his body. That's what's the circumference. We're not sure how to decide this malchokes. I think this is something which depends on tradition. And since we have a machlokes, we do not have a good resolution for it. We're going to be careful for both opinions. Tan Rabbana, rabbis learned, Ein loy achshav, v'os l'gad rachman. If he doesn't have kartzulayim, I believe, he doesn't have this feature now. Doesn't have the jumping legs right now, but they're going to grow after some time. They're going to zachal, like the breed zachal. It's permitted, mutter permitted. And it's like your blessed Rabbi Yosi said. It says in the pasuk, in the verse, in the verse it says it's a creek sieve. A creek sieve is for, like we say, a creek sieve is someone in the Torah says something which is read differently than it's written one way and you read it a different way. So it will be read. It says in the Torah Lamed Aleph. You're meant to read it loy. So Lamed Aleph means no, does not have, right? Asher loy crime does not have legs. But we read it Lamed Vav. Traditionally, we read it Lamed Vav, which means that he has legs. Basically, it really changes the meaning over here.
Mm-hmm.
You have a certain. You see it sometimes. You see in your chumash, you'll see, like we'll say a little on the bottom right, it'll be a star, it'll be like just, creek. This is read differently than it's said. It's written differently than it's read. So over here, I should like rhymes. So that's a hint. The reason why we have this, this tradition to switch it when it's written and read. I should like rhyme. It doesn't have legs. Even though it doesn't have legs now, Torah is hinting that it doesn't have legs. It's still going to be kosher. But also the guy the Rachman, and it's going to have. They're going to grow after time later. My Zachal. Anyone wants to know what is the Aramaic name for Zachal? Amar Abaya. Asakra. It's called Asakra. Okay. That doesn't really help anybody over here, but it's a breed of grasshopper. Honestly, even if I gave you the English name, the Latin name, it still wouldn't help anybody over here. But okay.
I just love doing the Gemara desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's a Zachar?
We're gonna learn a whole bunch of names of grasshoppers here, people. I'm gonna try to keep everything in as clear as possible, but we're gonna be saying a lot of unfamiliar names like Salam, Chargal, Lipoil, Chagav, Gadian, Siparis, Kramim, Yuchli, Yershalmas, Artsubia, Razvanis. These are 9 names of grasshoppers we're gonna learn now. They're all I don't know what their English names for any of them are. Different forms of grasshoppers, which are permitted to eat, but we don't eat them. Even if we could eat them, I don't know if you want to eat them. I wasn't raised like that. That's all I can say. Yeah. I don't know if anyone knows. The Yemenites do have a tradition to eat certain grasshoppers. And did you eat some of those grasshoppers? So, again, they were raised to eat them. So, Okay. Tanarabanan. We learned. As Eila mehem teichlu as arba. So it says in the Torah, as these of them you shall eat. The arba leminoi. Okay. It's arba gamer. Arba is gevai. What is arba? The Torah said this is gevai. Translated into Aramaic, I guess. Gevai. Fine. Salam is Rishon. Salam, it says in the Torah. Silam. Salam. It says the Torah. This is Rishon. Okay. Chargol. The Torah said the name Chargol is a nipa. This is what we know in Aramaic as nipa. Chagav. When it said the Torah Chagav, what was it referring to? What type is it? What is it called today? The Gemara is saying today, as in the Gemara's times. Gadian. So now the Torah said 4 times after each of these things. The Torah said Laminoi, Lamineo, Lamineo, Lamineo. We just learned by birds, right? Mm-hmm. These are critical words. The Torah didn't say it for nothing. When it said it's kind, it's adding other kinds to it also, right? Okay. So what are all these things adding? It says it 4 times. Gemara says what is it? It's called a havi. Siparis kramim. It's coming to tell you this breed called Siparis kramim. The Yuchni Yershalmis, V'Artsubia, V'Harazvanis. Okay, so those are 4 more types of grasshoppers which are permitted because the Torah said the Mineu. It's telling you in extra types. Very Bishmotana, we have slightly different way of learning, a slightly different way of understanding the extra words. In the Academy of Rabbi Yishmael, they learned Elu Klali Klalis, Elu Prati Pratis. Okay. So the word the species arba chargol, arba salam, chargol and chagol, which say in the verse, those are coming to. 1 second.
Generalization.
Those are coming to generalize types, and the mineu is coming to specify again that only things which are limited to certain features of these types, basically. So the Gemara is now going to go through. This is a long Gemara. Hopefully, we should be able to do it. So the Gemara is going to go through everything and try to figure out how much we can learn from these extra words, the specifications, and how limited it is. Obviously, if we would have just said a generalization, then we would have learned a lot more. But from the fact Torah came back and specified the mineu, it's coming to add, but it's also coming to limit the addition, right? The Torah said these extra words to tell you you can eat different species. Also, the Gemara also the Torah is also limiting you to those species, those extra species, and nothing else. Okay. Arba zegevoy. Arba zegevoy. Let me know. Arba zegevoy. So arba, the Torah said arba. That this is goyvoy. Let me know. The extra word that it says after arba, let me know, to its type. Lahavi. Siparas kramim. It's coming to add siparas kramim. So this would have told you Elo habav ein legabachas. This would only told you the type of grasshopper that is not bald, right? Habav yesh legabachas. What about a grasshopper that is bald, right? Which you can't learn, which you can't extrapolate from arba because the Torah limited it to only the type the Torah limited itself to only things which are like arba, right? When it said the word arba, so you can only extrapolate from there something which is bald. How do you know? Sorry, what's something which is not bald? Because arba are not bald. They have this hair on its head. They have hair on their head. Let me just see. I'll show the pictures. What's this one? Saw the pictures before. Let's go. Let's pictures here. Second. Let's see. Here they have a picture of one with a hair in the head. I don't think they have a picture of. Oh, they do. Okay, so this is a picture of one with a hairy head, and the one right on top is a picture of one without a hairy head. That's not what they're trying to bring out of it, but it does. It's bald. You can see it doesn't have any hair on its head. Only one of them is over here. This one has hair on its head. Okay, so from the word arba and laminoi, you cannot learn out of that. There's no way for you to learn a bald-headed grasshopper. Talmud Leimar Salam Zenipol. So now you can learn out Salam, which is a type of grasshopper, which does not have hair on its head. Therefore, the Torah specifically told you can eat a grasshopper that doesn't have hair on its head. And not only do you tell you Salam, we also learn out Lamineu from the word Lamineu, the extra word the Torah says Lahavias Ushchav, which is another species of bald grasshoppers. Okay. So now we're limited to two things, right? From arba we learned out you can eat hairy-headed grasshoppers, right? That meaning which are of the kind which are similar to arba. From salam we learned out you can eat bald-headed grasshoppers which are of the same species as salam. How do we know? Above yesh legabachas, above en legabachas. Species which comes in and is not bald, or above yesh legabachas, or a species that comes in is bald, the ein zanav, but it doesn't have a tail. Above yesh zanav, or one that comes and does have a tail. Minayin. How do we know? We learned chargol, which apparently has a tail, right? So therefore, we know that you can even eat one that doesn't have a tail. Sorry, even though the one that does have a tail, you can eat. Leminehu, the extra word is in the Torah by chargol, leminehu, to its kind. What's it coming to add? To another species called Karcephus and Shachlanis. Okay, so far we said that you can eat hairy-headed ones, bold ones, with a tail, without a tail, right? How do we know one of them which has a long head? Okay, so the Gemara is going to go through the list again. And so now we know that you can eat not only one with one that's not bold, one that's hairy headed, above yesh gabachas, or bold headed, above ein zanav, one that doesn't have a tail, above yesh zanav, or one that does have a tail, above ein resh arach, one that doesn't have a long head, above resh arach, or one that does have a long head. Now, how do we know that you can eat a grasshopper with an elongated head? Elongated head, right? I have a picture over here. I'll show it quickly. Here is a page. Okay. You see, it has a long head. How do you know? Because the Torah says. Okay, so the way we know this one is a little more complicated. We make something called a binyan av, which means when you have a bunch of things that are very similar, and they all have one similarity, they all have a common similarity, we're going to say because they all have the same similarity, we can apply that we're going to add something which has the same similarity to the group, even if it doesn't say it specifically in the Torah. That's how binyan av works. You have four things. Three of them says straight out of the Torah. But the fourth thing doesn't say straight out, but it shares the same similarities as the three. So we're going to say, okay, since it has the same similarity, then it's going to be in the same category. Okay, so let's see. Because arba is not the same exact as chargol, and chargol is not exactly the same as arba. And neither of them are so similar to salam. And salam doesn't have the same features all of them. Remember, some of them are bold-headed, some of them are not bold-headed, right? Some of them have a tail, some of them don't have a tail. Some of them are here, right? They don't all have the same features. What's the common denominator between them? The similarity between all of them is they have four legs and four wings, and jumping legs, and their wings cover most of their body. So too, right? So they all have these similarities. So too, so we have another species called sarsur. There's four legs, four wings, jumping legs, and has wings that cover most of its body. You would think that it should be mutar based on a binyan av, right? Because it's similar in all ways, just because everything the Torah said, they're not all similar. So therefore, you should have something which has all the same features as the ones the Torah said. Even though the Torah didn't say it, you should add it as well. The Gemara says no. The Torah came and told you no chagav. Ask the shmoy chagav. The Torah said you're limited to its name being chagav. Okay, they have to meaning all these species that I told you before, they all fall under a common name, right? A chagav, and they have arbe, salam, hargol, rashain. All these things are just underneath the name chagav, right? It's like a parent company, you know. Okay. Ish v'chagav yachal ein b'kol siman malalu tam leimar. Let me know you. So you're thinking 1 second. Oh, so you're telling me if it has the same chagav. Let's say it doesn't have any of the simanim we said it has to have. It doesn't have any of the indicators of being kosher. It doesn't have that its wings cover most of his body. It doesn't have jumping legs. It doesn't, right? It doesn't have these indicators. Maybe you'll say, oh, because it has a name, Shmoy Chagav, right? Maybe it has a name Chagav. It's going to be kosher. The answer is no. It has to have these indicators. Okay, so Parach Havachai. The Chai doesn't necessarily like a calculation. Why? Ma'alahanach shekain in Rishon Aruch. So you're trying to say that you should be able to add a species of locust to these categories if it has those four similarities and has the name Chagav. What you're forgetting is that when you're trying to do something like this, when you're trying to add something based on similarities, if the thing you're trying to add has something which is at odds with all other ones, that could be a problem, right? But the thing the other ones also all have in common is that they don't have a long head. So the same way you're trying to make a similar, say that they're similar with all those other features, they're also dissimilar in this specific way. So the Gemara, before we weren't even address the question fully, says maybe you're going to say Kim the Shavu B'dal Simonin, my Sinon, V'lei Parchinon. And if you're going to say because they are similar with these four signs, you're gonna say that okay, it's fine that it has a long head, and we're not going to ask any questions because it's similar in all the other ways, right? Even though it's at odds with all of them that it has a long head, the other ones all don't have a long head. Then the Torah could have just not written Chagol, because there we could have just said, oh, it's similar. What did we say the feature of Chagol was? Sorry. A long tail, right? It has a tail or not. Chagol, we said before, we said earlier, Chagol is telling you that even one that has a tail is going to be permitted. So the Torah should have just skipped that. The Torah should have just not said that, and we would have said, "V'teisi me'arbiv salam," right? We could have just skipped. Why did the Torah have to write the whole species in the first place? The whole name of that type of grasshopper, we could have just learned it out of the other ones. Because why? What would we? Because if, let's say, theoretically, we would have left that one out, and now you'd be coming to me with saying the Torah arba salam, and we try to make the same calculation we made with a long head, right? That we should learn it because it's similar in all other ways. You know what we would have said? We would have said, guess what? The other ones don't have a long head. We would have said the other ones don't have a tail. They're dissimilar. As similar as they are, they're also very dissimilar in this way. So if the Torah didn't specifically say they're kosher, you can't extrapolate it from the Torah. So too, the Gemara says, because the Torah didn't say example of a grasshopper with a long head, you shouldn't have a way to extrapolate it. Rabbi learns this whole thing different, right? So the whole calculation we made earlier with trying to add the category of a elongated grasshopper, a grasshopper with elongated head. We tried to add that to our category of kosher grasshoppers. He says, no, you can't. Salam is extra. When it says in the Torah the name Salam, it's to extra. But the Torah didn't need to really write that. We would have been able to learn it out of Arba and Chargol. And I think we're gonna stop over here. And tomorrow I'll summarize and we'll continue from here.
What's something I said?
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.